All right, well, let's get started. Thanks for joining us here today. My name is Ken Archer. I'm the SVP of Product here at Upwave. And uh, this is a big announcement today. We have been working on this feature for 2 years. Primarily, our data science team has been hard at work on this in response to what is, without a doubt, the number one unsolved problem in advertising measurements, and that's tying upper funnel brand investments, which are conservative estimates, half, if not more than half, of all advertising, to bottom of funnel outcomes. So when we meet with CMOs and we ask them what's their top unsolved problems, this is the most common thing we hear, which is why our data science team has been hard at work on this over the last 2 years. Other companies are hard at work on this too. We're not the only one. And you will be, hearing announcements from other measurement companies as well about their approach to what is being called full funnel measurement, tying upper funnel investments to bottom of funnel outcomes. And many of us are referring to this as customer lift because what we're measuring is not increasing the units of products sold. That's not what's important from a brand campaign measurement perspective. It's your ability to acquire customers, because that's the intended outcome for the intended bottom of funnel outcome for brand campaigns. So starting next week, Upwave's platform will have this available, and I'm going to talk about what it is and how it relates to other parts of measurement that are currently available to brands. So customer lift is really full funnel impact. Upwave has measured upper and mid funnel outcomes of brand campaigns for years now. Everything from awareness to consideration, purchase intent, but then other things like favorability, brand association. We're adding to this customer acquisition. So you're now able to measure the full funnel outcomes of a TV campaign, really any brand campaign, from awareness to customer acquisition in real time within the same single dashboard that you currently measure campaigns from Upwave. So why does this matter? What problem does this solve? So historically, brand marketers have had to navigate a trade-off between bottoms up and top down measurement methodologies that is unique to brand campaigns. This trade-off is unique to brand campaigns, and I'm going to talk about why this traditional setup of having top-down measurement and bottoms-up measurement that has worked fairly well for direct response campaigns, and has led to this development in unified measurement of direct response campaigns. It's run into a lot more headwinds when it comes to brand campaigns, realizing that vision. I'm going to talk about why that is. The trade-off in brand campaigns happens because brand campaigns are intended to drive bottom of funnel outcomes, both during the campaign and 3 to 12 months, if not more, post-campaign, though 3 to 12 months is fairly common. So this creates a problem for applying traditional bottoms-up measurement to brand campaigns. So bottoms-up measurement methodologies like sales lift or MTA were created for direct response campaigns, like retargeting campaigns. That's where these methodologies emerged from. And the design of those methodologies makes a lot of sense given the intended outcome of a direct response campaign, which is an action, an action within some period of time of campaign exposure. And sales lift and MTA are good at measuring those campaigns from a bottoms-up perspective. They're immediate, They're helpful in determining short-term revenue impact, and they provide a granular level of measurement. They can measure not just a channel as a whole, but individual tactics within that channel. And sales lift and MTA also bring those benefits to brand campaigns. They give you immediate results. They tell you the short-term revenue impact of a brand campaign. The problem is that brand campaigns are intended to achieve a revenue impact beyond the short term. They're intended to achieve a revenue impact in the medium term and the long term. And we see that full revenue impact when we look at our top-down measurement of brand campaigns with media mix modeling. But we don't see that when we look at sales lift and MTA measurement of brand campaigns. And as a result, sales lift and MTA undervalue TV campaigns. They undervalue brand campaigns by ignoring the post-campaign outcomes that brand campaigns are specifically designed to drive. And we've heard this complaint for years from brand marketers, but the volume has increased over the past year. So you might be wondering why that is. It's because of CTV. So you're probably familiar with the volume of linear TV budgets that are moving to connected TV, which is a digital media. Well, so how do we measure the effectiveness of digital campaigns? The traditional bottoms-up measurement is sales lift and MTA. And so you're having increasingly these conversations of measurement professionals asking a TV marketer, do you want a 15-day look-back window or a 30-day look-back window to measure the effectiveness of your TV campaign? And that question feels pretty absurd to most TV marketers who are kind of getting new to connected TV and no, this is not how TV works. I don't buy a Super Bowl ad so that people will turn off the television and go to the store and buy my product. TV marketers generally are much more sensitive to how brands are really built. You buy a Super Bowl ad, or any TV ad, in order to lift someone's attitude towards the brand so that when the customer has the occasion to make a purchase in your category, you are in their consideration set. Or even better, they have purchase intent for your particular brand in that category. And that path to purchase period of time, it may happen during the campaign, but it frequently happens post-campaign. And that's because of things like term commitments in industries like telecom, competitive brand loyalty in CPG. Studies tell us that competitive brand loyalty is 6, 9, 12 months. And so it's when that period of time ends that you need to be in their consideration set when they're in aisle and they're deciding to try another brand in the category. That's the function of brand advertising, and that's the true bottom of funnel impact of a brand campaign, of a TV campaign, that you don't capture with a bottoms up sales lift or MTA measurement, which is what's leading to measurement companies like Upwave and others looking for solutions to how to do bottoms up measurement of brand campaigns, TV campaigns, and don't undervalue those campaigns. Top-down measurement, by comparison, like MMM, is fine. It fully measures, fully attributes the revenue customer lift to brand campaigns. In fact, it even does it better. Admittedly, it does it better than even Upwave is doing it because it factors in exogenous factors. Everything from the economy to weather, if that's relevant to a category, competitive moves. So there's still an important role for top-down measurement. The limitation of top-down measurement, though, is still the same as it always was. It's delayed, it's too broad to enable granular mid-flight optimization decisions. So accuracy is the benefit, but there's still an important role for bottoms-up measurement in brand campaigns. So to break this trade-off, this is what everyone is trying to do. And Upwave is throwing its hat into the ring with what we believe is the solution. and that's customer lift. It breaks this long-standing trade-off by attributing both mid and post-campaign customer lift to brand campaigns, just like MMM does, but bringing that MMM data forward to the campaign level in real time. That's really the secret sauce, and it's what we believe that only Upwave is able to do. So this provides the speed and granularity needed for optimization and data-driven planning in one platform. So how does this work? Where does this data come from? How is Upwave able to measure the mid-campaign and post-campaign customer acquisition of a brand campaign while the campaign is currently going on? That's the question that you're probably asking yourself. So Upwave does it through building a brand equity model. And now that's essentially what MMM does as well. What is a brand equity model? It's understanding for your campaign, for your product category, sorry, and for your specific brand within your product category, what attitudes towards your brand are instrumental in driving people down the funnel, down the path to purchase towards increasing propensity to become a customer. What brand associations are important? Is favorability important? For some brands in some categories, favorability is important in increasing someone's propensity to become a customer. In others, it's less important. So what Upwave does is it trains a brand equity model using machine learning for every brand that we measure on our platform. So this model basically calculates the probability of an individual being a customer as a function of lift in brand KPIs. All right, so that's the new model that Upwave is now training automatically for every brand. So currently Upwave is measuring hundreds of brands on its platform, and this has been added to every single one of them. And we're measuring the impact of brand campaigns like we always have. So once we understand the lift to brand KPIs from an individual brand campaign, and we understand the lift in a customer's propensity to become a customer as a function of those brand KPIs, we put those two things together, and you're essentially doing MMM in real time. And that's the genius of this approach. So a couple questions that we have received from brands that we have given sort of advanced access to for customer lift that I want to answer here. One is, does customer lift capture both new customer acquisition and customer retention? And the answer is yes. Upwave customer lift reflects the lift of a campaign on both acquisition and retention of customers. Second question is, does customer lift account for whether those reached by the campaign are already customers? So let's say your campaign, half the people that you've reached in a campaign are existing customers. The answer is yes. Upwave customer lift accounts for the portion of a campaign reach that are customers and non-customers. So for example, if a campaign drives retention, but not acquisition, but the campaign reaches mainly non-customers, then the customer lift will be much lower for that campaign as a result. And you will be able to see that on the Upwave platform. One of the central features of the Upwave platform is that it combines both reporting of customer lift, but also important diagnostic tools that are missing in other brand campaign measurement platforms that make brand campaign metrics more actionable. And the most important one that we surface is targeting verification. Who are you reaching in your campaign? And so in this case, all campaigns, you can see whether you're reaching current customers or non-customers, if that is central to the targeting of the campaign. So last slide here, and then we're going to open it up to questions. there's a Q&A here on the bottom. And so while I'm going through this last slide, if you have any questions, feel free to send them in. We've already gotten a couple. This is a version 1 of Customer Lift. So it's great now and it's going to get better. So version 1, Customer Lift is reported as a percentage, just like the other percentages that you see in brand campaign measurement. So you'll see, just like you see a lift in awareness that's impacted by the campaign, a lift in consideration, a lift in purchase intent, you'll also see a lift in customer acquisition. So where does that lift in propensity to be a customer, how can you make that actionable? It's just a percentage, right? You don't get a percentage from MMM. From MMM, you actually get a number. Well, by taking this lift percentage and multiplying that by the reach of the campaign, you get the number of customers that are acquired. Again, both mid and post campaign as a result of this brand campaign. So right now, we're just showing the percentage. In the second half of this year, this will be reported as a number as we start to introduce some reach metrics into the platform. Customer Lift is available in the same unified real-time dashboard as the rest of Upwave's metrics. Again, it's using a proprietary brand equity model. It accounts for demographic and behavioral factors. This is another question that we get a lot. What happens if my brand equity model looks one way for, say, men and it looks different for women in terms of the brand KPIs that are instrumental in driving customer acquisition? And yes, our Upwave's brand equity model differentiates between different demographic and behavioral traits that are relevant to your brand. And finally, in closing, this enables us to capture the full funnel customer impact, and not just from a single channel like TV, but cross-channel, across your entire campaign. And you can identify the discrete impact of individual channels, people who are exposed to just one channel of your campaign, as well as the boost effect of people who are exposed to multiple channels in driving customer lift. So that is our announcement. We're going to have future webinars where we get more into the details of how customer lift is calculated. I can speak to that if there's questions as well, but let's get started with the questions. All right. So first question is, when customer acquisition happens post-campaign, when can we expect to see this customer acquisition? So this is really something that's unique to the path to purchase to each category. Generally, brands within a category will have very common patterns in terms of the path to purchase. But sometimes brands have fairly different paths. For example, if you have a direct-to-consumer and non-direct-to-consumer brands in the same category, they'll have fairly different paths to purchase. We do a lot of measurement for direct consumer that may seem counterintuitive, but the reason is because direct consumer brands over the last year have started increasing their investment in driving organic growth in visits to their websites, because they've been spending so much money on affiliate marketing, on Google search marketing, and we've been seeing that in as they've been making public filings. Anyway, little bit of a tangent, but if you can have different paths to purchase in the same category, but mainly you have to understand your path to purchase. If it's mainly shaped by term contracts, telecom companies know exactly their path to purchase. In fact, when they lose a customer, they find out who they're going to, they find out what the term contract, and they reach out to that customer when that term contract ends. And so it requires an understanding of the path to purchase for your customers, and in your category, in your brand. But that's the period of time in which you would then expect to see the customer lift that Upwave is reporting to manifest in your MMM. All right. Next question, can this be integrated with MMM? So the answer is yes, can be integrated with MMM. So, there is this ideal of unified measurement that I referred to earlier, this that has become really increasingly a reality in direct response campaigns, but less so in brand campaigns. And it happens through different approaches. Basically, if you have top down and bottoms up, sometimes they'll tell a different story. That happens even more so in brand campaigns than in direct response campaigns for the reasons I talked about here. You're always going to get a vastly different story from top down versus MTA or sales lift on a brand campaign. Because these bottoms-up methodologies that were designed for direct response undervalue brand campaigns. But you're still going to have them tell a different story because, for example, top-down is factoring in all sources. Let's say you have brick and mortar stores and you can't factor that in MTA. Or you have exogenous factors, again, like weather, the economy, competitive moves, that are very important in terms of understanding your sales drivers. That will be factored into your MMM. So what we would say is that MTA and sales lift is still valuable if you want to understand the short-term bottom of funnel impact of a brand campaign. But if you're looking for a bottom of funnel complement, bottoms up complement to MMM for brand campaigns for unified measurement, that we believe customer lift is actually the right approach, the right bottoms up complement to top down measurement. And the unified measurement approaches that use Bayesian statistics or other approaches to have top down and bottoms up tell a unified story actually can work just as well with customer lift. Next question is, how do you distinguish customers versus non-customers for customer acquisition? That's an excellent question. So when we're measuring the impact of brand campaigns, we're interviewing people, right? We're asking people questions, and this is one of the questions that's asked is current usage. And so we know whether someone is a current customer or not a current customer, and that enables us to discriminate between the impact of a brand campaign, of brand KPIs on acquisition versus the impact of driving brand KPIs on retention. And it's also how we're able to then apply that discriminated, differentiated brand equity model to the specifics of a particular brand campaign based on whether that campaign reached more current customers or more non-customers. Next question is there any minimum investment in order to get a valid study? So I would say yes and no. Yes, there is technically a minimum. Upwave didn't get into this much, how Upwave collects consumer attitudinal data. Because Upwave doesn't use cash incentivized panels, Upwave uses a digital network. We have uncapped data collection for studies. And so as a result, our thresholds are so low. For example, for digital campaigns, it's 7.5 million impressions, that in nearly any campaign that's big enough to be a brand campaign where you're actually trying to drive brand outcomes is big enough that Upwave can measure it? That's a good question, though. Let's see. All right, will optimization recommendations be available for customer lift? All right, so this is coming from someone who's using our dashboard today. Thank you very much for that. And you know that one of the tabs in the Upwave dashboard is optimization. And so optimization, what that does is it takes all of the different numbers that you see in brand lift reporting, statistical significance, observed lift, p-values, that kind of make it intimidating and hard to know, 4 weeks into a campaign, do I have enough information here to make a reallocation decision, to optimize? And it basically takes all those numbers and puts them into one number that actually answers the question that you're asking when you're optimizing, which is this tactic helping my campaign? What's the probability this is lifting the campaign average up in terms of lift? And the answer is yes. Yes, this is just like the other brand metrics, awareness, consideration, purchase intent, favorability are available with optimization. We also make optimization recommendations for how to best drive customer lift. Next question is, would this be applicable for newer brands and products? The answer is yes. For newer brands and products, I think it would be particularly important. What I'll also just want to say something about those with market entrant brands, that Upwave norms are going to be have an upgrade we're releasing in the next couple weeks that are going to factor in your position in the market. Are you a new entrant with 10%, 15% awareness? Are you an incumbent with 80% awareness? Because that actually, our data science team has found, has a bigger impact than the industry that you're in what attitudinal lift you can expect from your campaign. But the answer is yes, it would be very applicable to newer products and brands. And last, because Upwave calculates lift, these are net new customers. Are these net new customers that the brand campaign acquired? The answer is yes, and this also captures retention, again, because we know if those exposed to the campaign and those responding to our interviews are current customers or not. Our brand equity model factors that in. The impact of driving brand lift on not only acquisition, but on retention of current customers. All right. Well, that is the end of our announcement today. Thanks so much. We had a great turnout for this. This will also be available on the Upwave website. And if you have any questions, reach out to your sales director, your customer success manager, and look forward to getting feedback from all of our valued customers towards about the introduction of customer lift in our dashboard. Have a great day.